Hello, this is Chad Cedarwall at Why How Can Financial Coaching. Welcome to part 3 of the YouTube series in the Money Mindset Monday. This week, we're going to be talking about the post, which is on my Instagram page, that says, "Don't make excuses, make progress." Today, we're going to dive in and discover how does that relate to us financially and how does that relate to you personally. So I hope you enjoy the video and take some good things from it. So if you watched the video last week, you see that we talked about financial goals. First setting the goal and then the 3-step process on achieving your goal. And in the beginning of the video, I gave you time to set a specific financial goal, and I want to do the same for you today. So feel free, pause the video and write down a financial goal, something that relates to you specifically. And once you do that, resume the video and we'll get into the next part. Now that we've set this financial goal, how do you know whether or not you're actually on pace to achieving this goal? The only way to do so is to begin tracking down your progress. As a financial coach, I specialize in helping people set goals and then tracking down progress. And I've learned through that there's always a way to track down progress, especially if your goal is specific. One thing about progress is it's going to be different for everybody. Your progress is going to be tracked or marked differently based on you, based on the goal that you set. But one thing to always remember when tracking down progress is you must make it make sense for you and for your goal. Another thing to know about progress is that it comes in small and large quantities. You can't produce the same amount of progress or make the same amount of progress every day because each and every day is going to be different. But I am calling you to do one thing every day, and that's make some type of progress. Each of us has the power to make some type of progress every day. The other part of this video that I want to talk about is excuses. What exactly is an excuse? An excuse is a distraction from the truth. At Why How Can, we do not use excuses because excuses are detrimental to you, your future, your situation 100% of the time. Excuses never bring us closer to the goal at hand because it's simply a distraction from the truth. Excuses are detrimental 100% of the time. They only take us farther and farther away from our goals. If you want to improve your situation, whether that be financially, physically, mentally, spiritually, you have to begin to be honest with yourself. You have to look yourself in the mirror and say, this is where I am now. This is where I want to be. How can I make the steps to get to where I want to be? And what happens is when we make excuses, it distracts from all that, and we only look at what we can't do, not focusing on what we can do in the moment. Not being honest with ourselves is one form of an excuse, but another form of an excuse is blaming somebody else. We love to blame our family. We love to blame the system. We love to blame our past. But that's not bringing us any closer to where we want to be. It's very difficult to blame yourself for the mistakes that you make. But if you really want to make progress, you have to begin being honest, like I said, being honest with yourself and not passing off the buck or blaming some other outside source or external source. You have to look inward and say, what can I change? How can I get rid of and negate the excuses and begin to chase down progress? But financially, it's hard to blame somebody else for your personal finances. If you're broke, if you're swimming in debt, if you have no money invested for the future, if you have no money in savings, the only person you could really blame is yourself. And that's why I love finances, because it forces us to hold ourselves accountable and be honest with ourselves. If you want to make changes in your financial situation, you must be the one to make the changes. If you're unable to look at yourself, be honest, and get rid of your excuses, go ahead and get comfortable where you are, because change is not going to come until you decide to look inward and make those changes for yourself. Do you know what positive and negative correlation is? I learned about this back in school. I'm sure you did too. But correlation is something happens to one thing and another thing reacts based off of that initial action. And so when we're talking about progress and excuses, I want you to know that these two have a negative correlation. And I have a little bit of a chart behind us to illustrate that. So in this chart here, I have excuses and I have progress. And it's very simple. It's like a little chart of the direction. And so as you see here, when the excuses go up, your progress goes down. The more excuses that you make in your life, the less time you're going to have for making progress, because your energy and your focus and your mindset is based on the excuses. Now here is the opposite. When the excuses go down, your progress goes up. When you don't have that negative mindset and you're going to set excuses, your ability to make progress increases. So as I've illustrated behind us, it's a very simple formula and the relationship between excuses and progress. When one goes up, the other goes down, and vice versa. At Why How Can Financial, I want you to stop making excuses. I want that excuse chart to go way down to where it's absolutely nothing, because I don't want you to make excuses. It's not good for you and for your future. I only want you to make progress. And as we've talked about, that progress can be small, it can be large, and it's going to be different depending on the day and the circumstance. But each day I want you to focus on making progress. And the best way to do that is to get rid of the excuses. Just want to say thank you for watching and tuning in. Appreciate all of the general support, you viewing, subscribing any of my videos or my content. I hope that this week I really gave you a clear demonstration of how excuses and progress works. And I hope that the illustration really helps you to understand that when one goes up, the other goes down. So let's keep that as our mindset this week. And I'll see you guys when the next video comes out.